Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our regular council meeting of February 28, 2023. Call the meeting to order. Can we get the approval of the agenda of the February 28, 2023 regular council meeting? Moved by, go ahead.
I understood somebody, you wanted to add a proclamation?
Yeah, but I guess it should be moved and seconded first, or not? Yeah, there's a proclamation that missed the agenda for International Women's
Okay.
Day.
So you
Want-
add that to the agenda.
That can be added to, yes.
Okay, before we approve the agenda, we're going to add to the agenda. So can you get the,
That's because it only just came in
Yep.
today. But the date for the proclamation is March 8th, so the next meeting will be after that, right?
okay. So can we get a mover to add the proclamation to this? Moved by Councillor Dahl, second by Councillor O'Grady. Discussion? All in favor? Contrary minded, motion passed. Everything okay, Deputy Mayor? Okay. And now can we get the approval of the agenda, the modified agenda for the February 28, 2023 regular council meeting? Moved by Councillor Snow, second by Councillor Noel. Discussion? All in favor? Contrary minded, motion passed. And can we get the adoptions of the minutes of the regular council meeting of February the 15th, 2023? Moved by Councillor O'Grady, seconded by Councillor Snow. Discussion? All in favor? Contrary minded, motion passed. Business arising from the minutes. Okay, move on number 5, proclamations, presentations, delegations. We have 2 proclamations, and I'll read it the first one. Proclamation for World Lymphoma Day, March 6, 2023. Whereas lymphoma is a chronic, debilitating disease characterized by an accumulation of lymphatic fluid that causes swelling of the arms, legs, and other areas of the body, and which can cause disfigurement, disabilities, discomfort, pain and distress, and impair quality of life. Whereas patients with lymphoma may struggle with pain and swelling, may have recurring severe infection caused by lymphoma, and may experience financial and psychological strains due to the difficulties of maintaining their disease. Whereas while there are cases of primary lymphoma that are inherited, most cases are secondary that develop as a result of trauma, infection, surgery, radiation therapy, or removal of lymph nodes, including cancer treatments. Whereas gaps in research, education, and effective treatment exist, and more knowledge about lymphoma is needed to achieve timely diagnosis, management and care, and to develop more effective treatments. Whereas lymphoma is estimated to affect 2.8% of the population, or 14,800 people in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. Whereas the Lymphoma Association of Newfoundland and Labrador is a registered charity dedicated to ensuring all lymphoma patients have access to information, support, and treatment, thereby promoting healthy and hopeful living with lymphoma. Whereas March 6th of each year is internationally recognized as World Lymphoma Day to raise awareness about this disease and the treatment options available. Therefore, I, Frank Budd, Mayor of the Town of Carbonear, do hereby proclaim March 6, 2023, be observed as World Lymphoma Day in the province of Newfoundland. And can we get a mover and a seconder for that, please? Moved by Deputy Mayor Slade, seconded by Councillor Noel. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Contrary minded? Motion passed. Councillor Noel. And our second proclamation is International Women's Day, March 8, 2023. Whereas March 8 is International Women's Day, we celebrate women who, through their acts of courage and determination, have played extraordinary roles in creating positive change in their communities and around the world. International Women's Day provides an opportunity to remember the ongoing struggles of gender equality in compensation, representation in business and politics, education and health, while also acknowledging improvements and progress. The town of Carbonear celebrates the many achievements of women in our community and worldwide, while recognizing the work that still needs to be done to achieve gender equality and gender equity. Through legislation, policies, programs, and services, the town of Carbonear will continue to promote equality, human rights, and safety for our employees and residents. Now, therefore, I, Frank Butt, Mayor of the town of Carbonear, do hereby proclaim March 8, 2023 as International Women's Day in the town of Carbonear. And can we get a mover for that, please? Moved by Councillor Dial, second by Councillor O'Grady. Discussion? All in favour? Contrary minded? Motion passed. And we'll move on to number 6, permits and correspondence.
Is there a permit on that that's in conflict of?
Oh, yeah, I think there was a couple of councillors that declared a conflict on the Crown Land application. Just, yes, and I think that we did, yes. So if you want to do everything except those first.
Okay,
Leave that one out?
Leave out number,
Yes.
10151, okay. Make a motion to approve permit listing 10148 to 10153, omitting 10151.
and can we get a second for that? Oh. What's that?
No, I was gonna ask a question. I think that
Oh.
pertains to his county's lot, correct?
I'm not really sure if it gives a number of 56.
So,
It is,
I don't see it.
yes. That's pertaining to a shed on the, yeah, it's not pertaining to the Crown Land one. That's correct.
Okay, so I can make a motion for all of them?
Further along, yes.
So can we add the microphone there?
Just a quick question, just wondering if we were, as it pertains to the Lion Road.
I don't think it would be no different than if it was on the street in Carbonear, unless you're not right next door to it.
I'm not sure.
Generally, the permits that come to the permit report are ones that we haven't had any discussion on in development, because they meet all the rules and the regulations and the policies that they could go there. So I'm assuming that there's no issues with that one.
Again, I agree that typically if there's a permit, like somebody issues a permit, if it's on your street, it's usually not an issue if it's not a relative. But if a councillor is on shore, they can ask the question, and just quickly council can make that decision, and you can move on.
Well, Mr. Town Administrator, I am on shore, and I'd like for the council to tell me whether I would be in a conflict on voting on that particular one or no.
I'll make a
But
motion.
what would be the reason for that, Deputy Mayor? And the reason why I asked, because we have 4 councillors here that would have interest
I'm
in that.
uncertain whether I can be voting on anything that takes place in Underline Road. I got a business in there, and I also got a cabin in there. So this is the reason why I'm asking the question whether I would be or I wouldn't. Because I don't want something to come back at me later on and say, well, you voted on that and you were, as far as I'm concerned, you were in conflict. So I'm asking council the question now, whether I am or I'm not.
I'll make a motion that Councillor Slade is not in conflict on the renewal of that permit in this, for today's applications.
Yes, and just for clarification, I believe that's just a renewal of a shed. So somebody just got a permit to build a shed, and they're just renewing that permit because it wasn't completed last year. We do one renewal.
Can we get a seconder for that? Seconder for that the Deputy Mayor is not in conflict? moved by Councillor Snow. Discussion? All in favour? Contrary minded? Motion passed, so he is not in conflict. Correct? Go ahead, Mr. Can we do them all together, Owner, or can we just?
Yes, that's my question.
That's what I wanted to-
know Deputy Mayor Slade asked on his own behalf,
Yeah,
but as you pointed out, there are other councillors here who are in the same situation. So personally, I don't feel that there's any need to ask him for a vote. But, you know, I guess if he wants to make it very clear, some of these councillors just went through some pretty intense or you know, in detail training. So I'll ask, can I ask on behalf, instead of having to do everybody?
I know, that was my point, I was trying to get him to.
That's the other question. I mean, can each of them vote? If they're all in conflict, can they all vote for each other? That makes no sense either.
That's a real good point, Councillor Grady.
And,
I think, you know,
I can't see how it can come together because it's going to be.
And I would assume that you all voted on this permit. If this is renewal, then everybody here would have voted on that permit last year.
Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead, Deputy
I'd
Mayor.
like to go back to the
Councillor.
point that you referenced earlier. Like, it came up in another meeting, that merely living in a general area of the town, and this is inside the town planning area, like that be the case, a lot of us would have to abstain from voting on many permits due to proximity to the development. And I think that that's observed for us to have to do that.
And from my understanding, this permit meets all the criteria in order to get the permit.
Oh, yeah, that's.
Yes.
already-
Yeah. So it's just, the permit is approved. This is just to go through the, so I make a motion that, the councillors, Slade, Noel, who else?
Well, the Deputy Mayor is already done, so.
Yeah, okay. Councillor Noel,
Councillor Snow.
Councillor Snow,
No, but you,
What's that? Well, to be fair there, if the Deputy Mayor is allowed to vote, we didn't save much time here, but if I can lump them all together, that's okay.
Just for clarification, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
I didn't vote when the vote was taken that time, whether I was in conflict or I wasn't.
Not then, no.
But we can't do them all together either, because then only two of us can vote then, right? Like, you know.
Well, Councillor Seymour and then Councillor Slade will vote, or Deputy Mayor Slade,
Well,
because
I
he's
guess-
he's out of this three now, right? It's only gonna be three of us, right? No?
So it's three of us.
The permit in question is not that it's affecting, it's not like it's neighboring property or it's affecting your property in there, because they're not close to one another, right?
I'm not asking the question, I don't know if anyone else.
I asked
Okay,
the question.
okay.
can we defer that one permit till we just get clarification?
We do have some, you know, clarification coming on this issue, as you know, right? So if you know, if
Like, but my issue with it is like this resident meets all the criteria in order to have the shed. So like if this happened on White's Road or if this happened on Crackers Cove, you know what I mean? Like everybody in this room would vote on it. It's just that there's,
I have to make sure it wouldn't be. Yeah.
yes, you know what I mean? Like it's no one's adjacent, like right next door to this property. He meets all the criteria as set forth by the municipality and the watershed regulations and all the rest of it. So like there's no monetary gain, personal gain for anybody in this room. So I don't feel that, you know, we should hold up the shed. I don't expect he's going to build it tomorrow with this weather, but you know.
Councillor, did you ask the question? I'm not sure if you did or not.
Mr. Mayor, I did, but I get what Councillor O'Grady said there as well, and Councillor Doyle. I think they're all very good points being made there. It's a little bit, I don't think it's as grey as we sometimes try to make it, actually. But I started out the question to ask, and I wondered if there'd be any benefit of asking on behalf, and I was not asked to do that by other councillors. Yeah, but so if it's easier to break it down, and like I'm nowhere near Councillor Kennedy's cabin lot in there. I do have a cabin in Line Road. So I can ask for myself and you can answer the question, or I'm quite content with leaving it too, as Councillor Brady suggested too, so. That was
Well, I think he wants his permit, no doubt, but,
You know,
can you
I
ask
think,
Teresa?
I can't, I
No.
don't think that would, I think
No.
that typically each council would ask.
Okay.
If you wanted to do that.
Right.
Okay.
But Mr. Mayor, I think, you know, we look at permits we've done throughout the town. I mean, we haven't been stepping out for someone getting a shed permit close, you know, as far away as you are, you know, from, you know, I mean, it's so, the precedent's been set on that, right?
Yeah, Councillor Seaman.
To everybody here, and some of us did, we just did a course in when it comes to conflict of interest and everything goes, and I asked a question, and some of you were there when I asked it on the web, that I know there's 5,000 people in Carbonear, probably 2,500 of them I know or close friends or whatever with. I asked him what the legality would be to be in conflict of interest. The word was, even though I'm friends and a possibility I know 25 people, unless there's a gray area, they're saying there's a gray area, unless we know that there's some gain for us or there's a legitimate way that we should go, that is, we're showing an inappropriate way that we shouldn't show that we can't vote, then we step aside. A lot of times now we're going to see that. We're going to see that there's a possibility we might have to step aside because of certain areas and certain grey areas. But I don't think this here, what we're talking about right now, knowing where you two are to, I don't think this is a grey area. I think you're not in conflict, and that's personally saying that.
You go,
I'll ask the question
Please,
for
okay.
me, and then
Okay,
the
the question
other
has been
councillors
asked
would like
by
to
the-
ask, so I'll ask the question. Do council feel that I'm in a conflict of interest for voting on a shed on Vine Road?
I'll make a motion that I don't think that Councillor Noel is in conflict on permit listing 10151.
and can we get a seconder for that? Seconded by Councillor O'Grady. Discussion? All in favour? Councillor Monette, motion passed. Councillor Snow, you'd like to say something? You want to ask the question?
Okay, so
You may as well. It's up to you. It's up-
Alright,
I'm going to ask it,
I
so
don't
I don't want you to feel left
I
out
think it's
there, so-
irrelevant at this point.
Yeah.
No, it's up to you. Yeah. Oh, no, no pressure.
I'll make a motion to approve permit listing 10148 to 10153.
And can we get a seconder for that? Second by Councillor Noel. Discussion? All in favour? Councillor Monette, motion passed.
Further to that, I just want to highlight that under that, there's 4 new housing developments as a part of that at an estimated development value of over $1.2 million. So I feel that's significant for the town of Carbonear and hopefully a sign of more positive economic development to come after a couple of difficult years of COVID. Hopefully this is now the light at the end of it.
Sure.
Okay, and we'll move on now to 6.2, correspondence requiring a council decision. Nothing. Correspondence received and action taken. Have a look down through it. There's A, B, C, and D. No, A, B, and C. You may.
Correspondence received and action taken. It was brought up to the last joint councils meeting, bringing back information from that to councils, so that council were well aware of what was going on within that group and that organization. I attended the meeting there last week, and I got to say it was a very good meeting. Now they're going to do some in person, and they're going to do some virtual. So stand by, and as the stuff comes forward, I'm sure Councillor O'Grady, he's the liaison up there on that, and Councillor Doyle too, I think. Are you liaison for the town on that committee?
No, I don't think it is. I think it's the mayor. I believe.
Liaison, you know, but any councillor can attend, right?
Okay, so you two go on a regular basis anyway.
Yeah,
If I can get there, I go.
Okay.
If I can't.
yeah.
But anyway, we'll be bringing a report back from that committee to council, so they'll know what we're at and what we're doing.
And I think I
No.
believe, Deputy Mayor, you're the vice chair of that committee as well. Just, I'm not sure we recognize that out in the public or not. Okay. Let's move on to number 7, committee reports, Public Works, Waste Management, and Community Services. Deputy Mayor Slade.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, of course, okay, Mr. Mayor, thank you very much. The minutes of the meeting from Public Works is there in your Dropbox. You can peruse those. Any questions you may have, please feel free to ask. There's 3 motions to come out of the Public Works Committee. Resolution number 1, resolved that the town of Carbonear purchase a new John Deere 624P loader through canoe procurement, supplied through Brent Tractor for the sum of $501,350 plus HST, including additional 6-year warranty, less trade-in the value of $85,000 for the old loader plus HST, which results in a net cost of $416,350 plus HST. And I so move.
And can we get a seconder for that? Seconded by Councillor Snow. Discussion? All in favour? Contrary minded, motion passed.
The next one, Mr. Mayor, is resolution number 2, be it resolved that the town of Carbonear issue an open call for bids for HVAC services. And I so move.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Slade, seconded by Councillor Noel. Discussion? All in favour?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion passed.
Resolution number 3, resolved the town of Carbonear submit a request to the Department of Municipal Affairs for an approval to borrow to finance the purchase of John Deere 624P loader for the Public Works Department in the amount of $434,198.92 net of the HSB rebate from Bank of Nova Scotia at the prime rate of plus a 0.25% for a term of 5 years and an amortization period of 10 years. And I so move.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Slade, seconded by Councillor Seymour. Discussion? All in favour? Contrary minded, motion passed.
And that's it for me, Mr. Mayor.
Any questions for the Chair of Public Works? Thank you. We'll move on to 7B, Recreation, Special Events, Culture, and Tourism. Councillor Seymour.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you. All right, there we go. Good evening, everyone, and thank you. With us in recreation, there's nothing new development, only because there's a lot of things going on that will start to spring for us. The only thing I have to say, I've developed a great liking for the food that was served at our winter carnival. I enjoyed a couple of good meals. I was at work, but my wife made sure I got them. I thank you to the Special Events Committee. I thank you to everyone else that was involved outside of the Special Events Committee, and to everyone that volunteered their time to make this a great occasion. I know some things got cancelled, I know things, but they still a lot of things went through. And all I can say out there is this: if we keep going the way we're going, this little town can make it, because we got a great bunch of people out there volunteering. I thank you very much for it. For the regard to the recreation, if there's any questions anybody wants to ask, go ahead. I can do so, please so. But if there's anything that the EDTO got to offer, I please so too. Thank you.
Any questions for Councillor Seymour? Thank you, sir. I move on to number 7C, Development. Councillor Doyle.
The Development Committee met on February the 23rd. Under business arising, our CAO is going to contact our legal counsel just to get some opinions on a business that's not keeping up with the conditions as set forth by their permit with the town. There was an application withdrawn. In order, when someone wants to purchase a property, in order to find out if they can do particular renovations, they have to put in the permit. They decided then that they weren't going to purchase the permit, so then the permit is then for withdrawn. So there was no action taken there. And then we have a couple of motions coming from the business arising. Under development applications, we had one application that didn't meet the policies and procedures, and we have one that will be coming up as a motion, and there's a third one that we were waiting on a further drawing from. Under correspondence, there was some correspondence sent regarding a boundary fence, and there was no action required by the town there. There was no MEO report at this particular meeting. Under new business, we had inquiry about a business moving location, and just a notice to businesses, residents, if you are moving, you may require further applications, particularly if you're moving a business. And we had a bunch of ongoing items. Most of them are pending information from the developers or from Service NL. If you want to take a look at slide number 7A in your Dropbox. Resolution number 1, to approve the following applications in accordance with, there is actually, I think, people who were declaring conflict on this one. Before I read it. Okay.
So Deputy Mayor Slade and Councillor Norris stepping out because they own property in the area. Okay. Okay.
Yep. Resolved to approve the following applications in accordance with applications submitted, the Town of Carbonear Municipal Plan and Development Regulations and other conditions as specified. To use a parcel of land in the Line Road for an agricultural operation, including hay fields and farming of vegetables, conditional upon no objections or no objections or representations being received from the discretionary use advertisement, and further conditional upon the application being referred to the committee and council for further review if the objections are received in response to the discretionary notice, and further conditional upon receipt of applicable approvals from the Department of Environment and Climate Change, Water Resources Division, and other applicable government departments and agencies.
And can we get a seconder? Second by Councillor O'Grady. Discussion? All in favour? Councillor Monette, motion passed. Deputy Mayor and Councillor Noel can come on in. Councillor Seymour.
I'd like to ask a question on the resolution number 2.
Well, can we wait for the
Home-based
motion? Do
business.
you want to wait for the motion and then we
What?
can we wait for the motion and we'll discuss
Okay.
it? Okay.
Resolved to refuse the following applications to operate a home-based business from number 113 Water Street, since the proposed business operation is not a permitted or discretionary use in a residential medium-density zone.
Can we get a seconder for that? What's that? Seconded by Councillor O'Grady. Discussion. Go ahead, Councillor
The
Seymour.
reason I didn't want to have that is I have a son who has a house on 122 Water Street. Am I in of any system or any way? Because that's a business based here. I didn't, I want to make sure that I'm not in conflict on it.
Well, you could ask the question.
That's what I wanted before.
Yeah. You want to ask the question to see?
Yeah. 122 Water Street.
Which is almost not quite directly across the street from this property. So the question has been asked, I guess, by Councillor Seymour if he's
If I'm in conflict, yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's a business that's trying to start up, and I've got a son just down across the road from it, so I mean, I could be saying no, I could look at it.
I'll make a motion. Can I make a motion in a motion?
Well, we're going to deal with his question there now.
Yeah, well, that's the question, am I in conflict? Yes.
Yeah. Make a motion that he is or is not.
But I was in the middle of the motion, so can I make a motion that he's not in conflict? Yes? Okay. I'll make a motion that Councillor Seymour is not in conflict.
And can we get a seconder for that? Second by Deputy Mayor Slade.
I take it.
Discussion? All in favor? Contrary minded, motion passed. Finish your motion now for the,
It's
we get a-
finished.
Did we get a seconder for that one?
Mhm.
Yes, we did, okay. All in favor? Contrary minded, motion passed.
Resolution number 3, to construct a one-story accessory building at 10 Canada Place, conditional upon no objections to a variance to the maximum height requirement from 4.5 to 4.88 meters, and conditional upon no objections being received by the neighboring property owners by the deadline provided, and further conditional upon the application being referred to committee and council for further review if objections are received in response to the variance notice.
And can we get a seconder for that? Second by Councillor Knoll. Discussion? All in favor? Contrary minded, motion passed. Councillor Knoll seconded. Okay. Any questions for Councillor Doyle? Okay, we'll move on now to 7D, Finance and Administration. Councillor O'Grady.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The minutes are in your Dropbox. There's a few items I'll bring to your attention. We're still working on the terms of reference with the theatre board. I guess we're waiting for them to I think they had their meeting, but also the fire prevention regulations. We'll see if you read the comments there. We're looking at incorporating maybe some things around fireworks and things, so we will get a draft together and to be, I guess, discussing with council in the next coming weeks before we approve that policy. We also have a policy regarding remote attendance to meetings, and so that allows councillors to attend meetings remotely if they're out of town or if they're on vacation kind of thing. So we also discussed that maybe after coming through a pandemic, maybe some people might not be able to attend due to sickness. It doesn't refer sickness in the policy right now, so we wanted to amend it to include being able to attend remotely due to illness. So I think there is a motion. We do have a motion on that. Just let me find that motion. It's number 3, actually resolved to adopt the amended remote attendance policy C.7 as presented to council.
And can we get a seconder for that? Seconded by Councillor Snow. Discussion? Has any consideration been given for people that are working as well? I know the sickness was there, but and the reason why I ask is if someone, say, is in St. John's, for example, and they finish up work at 4:30 and the council meeting is 5:30, there would probably be a tendency they might want to try to get to their meeting and may, exceed the speed limit there, and causing, whereas they could say, take an hour, just go somewhere and just, I just want to know if that's something that would be.
Yeah, I guess it's something the committee can review and
Yeah.
bring back a recommendation.
Or you could add to it now. I'm just thinking out loud there that,
I
we
think you're
can,
going to need to put the language in that together.
okay.
I'm not saying there's any opposition to it,
Yeah.
but typically you would, do the language so people know exactly what they're voting on, because it's not been put into policy yet.
I think also consideration needs to be given, these ones are kind of one-offs here and
Exceptionals.
there, they're the exceptions, but it's not the norm. So you can't, in my opinion, to have 6 council meetings in a row where you're calling in remotely, you know what I mean? That's problematic. Whereas this is to cover off, I'm the one that brought this to the finance committee because a little while ago, I had been exposed to COVID and I was concerned about coming here on a Tuesday for the regular council meeting. I was feeling fine and I could attend, but I didn't want to risk coming here and sitting next to anybody. But I could go to the meeting. So I just brought it to the attention that it wasn't there, that like, I didn't realize Friday afternoon when you had to give the notice. Like, if you're going to attend remotely, you need to let the office know the Friday before. And I didn't find out, I don't think, till Friday night. So it was late Friday night when I emailed the CAO. But like, this could happen to you on a Monday afternoon. You could find out that you've been exposed to something, and just we're in a different time coming out of a pandemic. Like, we don't want to make anybody around us sick, but so it was more the like the off meetings, not the norm.
So we can add it to the next finance committee meeting and
Yeah.
for
So I
discussion.
think we've chosen a time when everybody can make it and at 5:30. So if someone's work changes and they can't make it 5:30, we would probably have to change the entire council meeting to a different time, to accommodate that, right? But
Any further discussion? Councillor Noel?
I think we can pass this as it's worded by the administrative committee, and if there's something that people feel they should consider to bring back to us, do it at that time, but let go as it is right now.
All in favour? Councillor Minot, motion passed.
okay, moving on here. Still waiting on the financial statements, but that should be coming fairly quickly. The tax recovery plan is something that we actually review every year, so that's also been circulated to you. It's in your Dropbox there. So, and the tax recovery plan just gives, I guess, the objectives and timeframes for collecting the tax during the year and a planning schedule. So it's there in your in your Dropbox. I got a motion as well to adopt it. Resolve that the town of Carbonear adopt a 2022 tax recovery. That should be 2023, I guess, in that motion.
No, it's 2022 tax recovery plan, but it's for actions for 2023.
Okay. Resolve to approve the 2022 tax recovery plan and tax recovery actions and plans for the fiscal year 2023.
And can we get a seconder for that? Second by Councillor Snow. Discussion? All in favour? Councillor Minot, motion passed.
We also have a motion for the, just to approve the grant for the Princess Shield and the Garrett Theatre. Resolved that the town of Carbonear approve the operating grant to be paid to the Princess Shield and the Garrett Theatre in the amount of $10,000 for 2023.
And can we get a seconder for that? Second by Councillor Doyle. Discussion? All in favour? Councillor Minot, motion passed.
And that's all I want to discuss right now, Mr. Mayor.
Any questions for Councillor O'Grady? Councillor Noel?
Question, just comment that Councilor Brady might want to expand on is just the tax recovery plan, like the vast majority of the taxes are collected, of course. This is just another step that's taken, so I don't know if people see this and think that there might be some, there's a lot of tax arrears, but that certainly is not the case, and I don't know if you want to comment on that.
Yeah, that's right. We
it's
we usually update it periodically throughout the year, so we're well past 95%, I think, collected in most areas, right? So, and that's what the recovery plan has goals in it that we will collect as much as we possibly can, but more than 95% is what we always push for, and we still continue with the arrears, throughout the following years as well, and to collect and whatever means we have
And we
at
are
our
required.
disposal to collect.
We are
Each year
required.
reports regularly on the tax collections for the current year, but this document is required by the Department of Municipal and Provincial Affairs to be submitted annually. So that's why that's here right now. And we do reach the goals that we have set in each year since we've been doing this. So I don't think there's any great concerns there.
No.
Tax collections.
No.
We're doing very well.
It's just a plan to maintain that.
Yeah. Okay, thank you guys. Okay, move on to number 8, the CAO. Reports of CAO, excuse me.
Yeah, that's number 9, your Dropbox. I'm not going to go, that's there for everybody to view. I did one for December 2022, but there was
Your
several,
microphone?
oh, sorry. No, I just put it there for everybody's information. You can go through it, when you get a chance. I did do one for December 2022, but there was several invoices that hadn't been received. So I just wanted to give you an update, and this one here is just revised. And if you compare the two, you'll notice that it shows that there's a lot more expenditures posted there for this particular report than the previous one. So just so you can see that the expenses are higher, but now we're still well within our budget. But again, if anybody at any time has any questions, you can, you know where to reach me. Ask at any time. Thanks.
Okay, and we'll move on now to 8B, Director of Operations Public Works, Mr. Ian.
Thank you. So my report is in the draft box also. Oh, this one's on.
No, light's not on.
Yeah, the light's not on, so it's not actually, so Pete will let you get his yes.
How about this one?
Just try Pete's.
Okay. Taser.
Thank you.
Is good?
Perfect.
Okay. So yeah, my report is in the Dropbox. Just a few things to point out, and I highlight some things that are coming up. But Water Street Phase 3 RFP closed on Friday past. So I got those proposals today, and I started reading those today. So I'll have that done hopefully by the end of the week. There are 8 bidders. Valley Road Phase 4, the consultant is moving forward with the design on that one. The doors on the Civic Center are just about finished being installed. Water Street Phase 2, the consultant is currently reviewing the budget, and then they're going to make the award to the low bidder for that Part A that was tendered a little while ago. Adelaide Street Phase 2, I had a meeting today with the province and finished the evaluations for those proposals. So I'll have a report to the Public Works Committee very soon. We've got funding there for water system vulnerability study, so that's going to go out in the next little while, I guess. I've been meaning to talk to CAO about that. I didn't get to it yet, that's all. Grassy Lane water sewer storm upgrades. That has been awarded to WSP, and kickoff meeting was held last week, I believe, and they're going to begin their preliminary engineering activities as soon as the weather starts to cooperate a bit. There's too much snow up there now to do the survey and stuff. Adelaide Street Phase 1, the project has been awarded to Cougar Construction. And that's it for updates on those capital projects. Thank you very much.
Any questions for the Director of Public Works? Nope, thank you. Okay, move on. Number 9, finances, operating invoices over $2,000.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The invoice list is in your Dropbox. So resolved to approve operating invoices over $2,000 in the amount of $179,371.67.
And can we get a seconder for that? Seconded by Councillor Knoll. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Councillor Minot, motion passed. Okay, moving right along here. Our next meeting is the second Tuesday in March. March 14th. Moved by Deputy Mayor Slade, seconded by Councillor Knoll. Meeting adjourned.